The Blind Frog Ranch in the heart of Utah's Uinta Basin, beneath the jagged layers of sediment and secrets, a ranch unlike any other guards its mysteries with a relentless silence. Blind Frog Ranch, a rugged expanse named after the peculiar, sightless amphibians once found squirming in its underground springs, had long captivated treasure hunters, conspiracy theorists, and the brave or reckless few willing to dig into the unknown. The crew at Blind Frog Ranch, led by the persistent and unshakable Duane Olina, had, for years, drilled, tunneled, and mapped the land, chasing legends of buried Spanish gold and unexplained phenomena. Yet, through all the years of work and whispers, nothing compared to what they would discover deep within the caverns. It started as an anomaly on the scanner, a dense metallic signature in a region previously thought to be solid rock. The ground-penetrating radar gave back confusing readings, hinting at chambers within chambers, like Russian nesting dolls hidden under layers of shale. The readings also suggested movement, not seismic in nature, but faint, rhythmic pulses that baffled the geophysicist brought in to verify the data. After weeks of preparation, the crew initiated a delicate excavation at the marked location. The dig was dangerous. The rock was brittle. The air became thinner the deeper they went, and equipment failures plagued the descent. At 30 feet down, the first tunnel collapsed. At 70, the temperature dropped dramatically. But at 94 feet, they hit a hollow. Not a man-made tunnel. Not a mine shaft. A natural cavern, but unlike anything any of them had seen before, the cavern walls shimmered with a mineral that defied classification. Not gold. Not silver. Something iridescent, slick like wet glass, but coarse to the touch. It pulsed faintly under flashlight beams, as though reacting to their presence. And in the center of this alien chamber, partially embedded in the wall like a fossil, was something even more extraordinary. It looked like a container. Oval. Metallic, but not rusted. Its surface bore intricate etchings. Symbols that resembled both ancient runes and digital circuit patterns. At first, the crew assumed it might be part of some old mining equipment, perhaps from a Spanish or indigenous expedition. But no known culture had left behind anything like this. A structural engineer, flown in from Denver, examined the object and declared it non-native to this planet's crust. He wasn't being poetic. The alloy was unknown to him. Spectrometer readings came back as inconclusive with known periodic elements. This was not some lost relic of Spanish conquest. This was something else. Days passed in a flurry of documentation. They took samples, photographed every inch, sent data to labs. Theories spiraled: ancient aliens, hollow earth entrances, interdimensional artifacts, a government black site. But the most compelling development wasn't the object itself, it was what happened to those who spent time near it. First, small things. Crew members reported hyper-real dreams. Some awoke remembering equations or languages they had never learned. One technician, who barely graduated high school, woke up one morning speaking fluent Latin. Another began sketching complex geometric designs in his sleep. Then came the physical changes. Increased heart rates, heightened senses, but also disorientation and paranoia. The ranch's atmosphere, already charged with legend, thickened with something intangible. Tension, reverence, fear. Duane, ever the skeptic, ordered the object extracted. When machinery failed to budget, they tried thermal methods. Torches, dry ice. Still nothing. Whatever it was, it didn't want to be moved. But it responded to light. When floodlights were arranged in a particular pattern, surely by accident, the object began to vibrate softly. the carvings on its surface illuminated in sequence, like keys on a piano struck by invisible fingers. One of the crew described the sound it made as a whisper through steel wool. Another said it felt like the air was singing at that point. Duane halted further attempts at physical interaction. He contacted a linguist, then a physicist, and finally, reluctantly, someone in the government. But it was too late. Word had gotten out. Within a week, drones buzzed overhead. Strangers in SUVs parked just outside the ranch's perimeter. Some claimed to be journalists. Others wore no badges, asked no questions, just stared and scribbled into black notebooks. Satellite images of the site began disappearing from publicly accessible maps. Meanwhile, the cavern changed. The strange mineral along the walls began growing, climbing the stone like ivy. The glow intensified, visible even through heavy tops, and the object, now dubbed the Seed by the crew, began projecting faint holographic images into the surrounding chamber. Not pictures, exactly. More like blueprints. Multi-dimensional schematics that no human eye could fully decode. One evening, the entire cavern lit up in a brilliant cascade of color. The surrounding rock trembled. From the object, a pulse radiated outward, tripping all the sensors on the ranch and knocking out communication for exactly 7 minutes. When systems came back online, the cavern had changed again. More chambers had opened, seemingly of their own accord. Tunnels revealed themselves, twisting in impossible geometries, descending deeper into the earth. The crew's bravest members ventured into one, tethered by lines and monitored by multiple drones. What they found defied geology. Massive spherical rooms, naturally occurring yet lined with impossible symmetry. Stone formations that resonated like tuning forks. And more artifacts, fragments, or possibly tools, made of the same material as the seed. In one chamber, they found skeletal remains. Not human, not animal. Tall, bipedal, vaguely humanoid, with elongated skulls and hands with 6 fingers. The implications shattered them. Blind Frog Ranch had always been a place of myth. But this was revelation. What had once been dismissed as fringe lore, the rumors of subterranean civilizations, of visitors not from above, but from below, now had form and evidence. And it sat beneath a patch of land named for a frog that couldn't see. The discoveries transformed the crew. Some couldn't handle it. A few left, refusing to speak of what they had seen. Others embraced the mystery, devoting themselves to deciphering the symbols, documenting the chambers, guarding the truth. But the ranch was no longer theirs alone. Within months, government vehicles arrived in full. Not in the open, but under the guise of environmental surveys and geological protection projects. The crew was offered compensation and security clearances. Most declined. Those who stayed were moved into silence by non-disclosure agreements, legal walls nearly as thick as the caverns. Still, whispers escaped. In forums, on encrypted channels, the footage, grainy, leaked out of context, spread like wildfire. A video of the seed pulsing. A clip of one of the spherical rooms resonating with harmonic frequency. Snippets of symbols. And the world began to wonder. Not all believed. Many dismissed the videos as hoaxes, the symbols as clever marketing. But others, scientists, believers, seekers, began to gather. Blind Frog Ranch became the epicenter of a quiet revolution in understanding. Of history, of geology, of consciousness itself, because what they discovered wasn't just an object, not merely an artifact. It was a message, a breadcrumb, a whisper through time locked away in the Uinta Basin of eastern Utah. The Blind Frog Ranch had always pulsed with an unspoken energy, an undercurrent that seemed to breathe beneath the soil, as if the land itself remembered things no one else could. The area was thick with folklore. Native legends spoke of cursed gold and sacred ground. Treasure hunters chased rumors of buried Spanish wealth, and recent decades had seen a rise in claims of the strange and unexplainable: electromagnetic disturbances, sudden shifts in animal behavior, lights in the sky. But it was in the earth, not above it, that the ranch held its greatest secrets. Over the years, Duin Allinger and his small, loyal team had spent countless hours probing the land beneath Blind Frog Ranch. They drilled, scanned, excavated. They braved collapses, toxic gases, and a landscape that seemed to change when unobserved. With each failed expedition, the mystery only deepened. The ground was reluctant to give up its truths, and many began to wonder whether it ever would. Everything changed when the team's radar picked up something unexpected: a vast, multi-chambered cavern buried deep below the northeastern ridge. It wasn't a natural void. The geometry was too precise. The outlines on the sonar suggested a pattern, too regular to be coincidence. They marked a point of entry and began to dig. The first chamber was enormous, nearly the size of a cathedral, with walls that shimmered under torchlight. A slick, black mineral coated the stone, glimmering in colors not easily named. The surface felt cool and oddly alive, as though it responded to touch. Scattered across the floor were fragments of what looked like worked metal, thin, ribbon-like coils of a substance that refused to melt or bend, even under intense heat. But at the chamber's center lay the true discovery.